come along with me. We're building PCs, but also a business. In our last episode of Brick by Brick, we built this PC right here, and only for $482. That brings Budget Reboot's total profit to $1,624.61. That is, of course, excluding our inventory. And speaking of inventory, I guess it's about time we figure out what exactly is getting flipped today. Now, while it might not be as expansive or nearly as pretty or organized as some other people's inventories, I promise there's a system. Now, let's see what I got back here. Oh man, what a hard job. I bet you guys are probably wondering what exactly we're working with today, so why don't I give you guys the overview. We have an RX 5700 XT 8GB model. This is one of the Radeon blower models. I don't really like blowers a whole lot, but I think I'm starting to warm up to them. Get it? Because they get really warm. And then we'll be slotting that into this MSI B450 Gaming Plus Max motherboard. It already has a Ryzen 5 3600X in it. We're going to leave it pasted for testing. We'll take it off after. And then we have the memory. For our RAM, we have a pack of 2x8 DDR4 clocked at 3600 megahertz from Guile. And then for our storage, we have a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. It's a Gen 4 from Clev. Well, I guess now that we have everything, it's finally time to insert Captain America. Assemble! Alrighty, that doesn't leave us with a whole lot left to do besides flipping it. And it looks like that's a boot. So a little bit about the build. If you somehow couldn't tell already, it's going to be a black and red build. It's going to be pretty clean, especially with the red LEDs on both the GPU and the MOBO. I've had this build planned for quite a long time, and honestly, the reason I haven't done it yet is because I've had more interesting videos pop up. And that includes one of my favorite videos where I bought a broken 4060 gaming PC, did like 5 seconds of work, and it was working. Sold that for like $500 profit. Go ahead and check that out. I'll put it down in the description. I'll also put it in the card up here. And then because you guys know around here, we don't do anything half-assed, and since I've had this plan for such a long time, obviously I have some cable mods. While I don't exactly like how these feel, they look amazing and they're gonna fit this build just perfectly. However, that being said, but honestly, if I hadn't already bought these super specific cable mods right here for this build, I probably would have bought them from someone else like Okanos. Through this series, I've used Okanos' products so much. They're so amazing for flipping and for any budget PC builds. From their cases to their cable extensions, they are all amazing when you're on a budget. These cable extensions come in just over $10 cheaper than the same kit you could get from like Asia Horse, which is a popular brand. They're just as reliable and quality feeling as those from Asia Horse. They honestly feel a lot better to manipulate and just work with in general. However, I do have to mention there is a very large lack of different color cable extensions. At least the ones I could personally find, there was black and there was white. If there's more options, I would probably end up using Okanos for probably about 90% of my PC builds, unless if I need something crazy specific like these ones. And then for today's case, I have the 220T RGB. Now, obviously, this is a Corsair case, so it's a bit pricey, but hey, I didn't buy it brand new, but it is completely unused, which is kind of weird. I'm sure you guys were wondering how much I got it for. Well, I'll tell you during the full price breakdown that you guys have to stick around for to see how insane this PC turns out. So something I actually didn't notice until opening this box up. Come on. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't just do it this way to begin with. You can't tell, but these are just fan hubs, which means if you look down here, they aren't ARGB, they're just RGB. However, thankfully, I do have a few packs of Thermalright fans, so we're just gonna go ahead and toss them in here. We'll find a controller and we'll get it all set up. However, it's about 11 o'clock at night, and of course, I do work a full-time job, so I'm gonna go to bed. This is a tomorrow me problem.
Think fast, chuckle nuts!
Alright, so it's the next day, it's Wednesday, and this video has to go up on Saturday, so we do have to hurry. However, we won't be skipping over the deals we found. Starting us off, we have this Ep2 600 watt gold power supply. This is their prestige line. I did some research before buying this because it isn't like a well-known brand. This prestige line at the very least is pretty reliable, so I went ahead and bought that. And then I did pick up a second power supply. I went ahead and picked up this Corsair HX750. I got this guy for free, but that's only because, if you can't tell, there's no GPU wires. However, I'm sure I can find some or get a complete replacement kit for pretty cheap. Last but definitely not least, I went ahead and picked up a PC, which you can see right now. The LEDs might be just a bit janky, which I can appreciate. The build itself is pretty damn solid. Here are the specs on screen right now for it. And now that we got the good news out of the way, it's time for the bad news. So because I thought this case was ARGB, I thought I would have like a hub, some fans, and I would just have to throw in another pack. However, they're just RGB. So we're spending an extra $36, $37 on our RGB for this build. It doesn't feel good, but sometimes you just gotta do what you have to do. Let's go ahead and get those fans switched. So nothing reminds me how much I hate installing fans like, well, installing fans. As much as I love building PCs, it has to be my least favorite part. So that being said, why don't you guys let me know what your least favorite part is? But for me, it's definitely the fans. And with them installed, we can finally get this build put together. I was dumping out the hardware box that came with this case, and it has an instruction pamphlet with over 100 pages. What the fuck? You know we got it up running, yes sir. So we're gonna go ahead and run some stress tests real quick. I got Furmark running in the background here, and then we have Cinebench coming up next. So here are some Nerds for Stats on screen right now for you guys. So besides these stress tests, that pretty much means all we have left to do is to test on some games for our listing and, well, get it listed and get paid. So let's go ahead and check out how this holds up in some popular games.
Psych! That's the wrong number!
Alright, so great news. When I was testing games and I went to run Fortnite, I was running at like 5 frames a second. So I went, maybe I need to update the hardware. Update the BIOS and bam, black screen. I'm trying to flash it real quick with the most up-to-date BIOS, but if that doesn't work, I'm not quite sure what we're gonna do about this because we're uploading tomorrow. So let's just hope for the best. Okay, so if you guys can't tell, we did get it working. It did take about like an hour or an hour and a half of like clearing the CMOS, fucking with the RAM, re-flashing the BIOS over and over again. I think this is like the third USB and the third download I've had. So this thing was a fucking nightmare. But at least now the Mobo is up to date and we can get back to testing this shit. I really hope I have enough time to edit this video tonight. Cause let's see, it's 10 o'clock and I want to be in bed by 3. So that gives us a good 5 hours to finish.
Gonna get don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
I like the code. Double KO!
Fight for the good guys next time.
We're finding our I suck.
It'll be alright. Someday.
We made it. All right, guys. That's going to be the end of this episode. I got to get this edited. So have a lovely rest of your nights. Thank you so much for watching. Videos here somewhere. I don't know where they're going yet. But one you're really going to like, one YouTube thinks you're going to like. Please subscribe, comment, like, do all the things. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.